All right, guys, on this Throwback Thursday, I do have an editorial for you. I'm going to get you a Throwback Thursday video later. But for now, I have this editorial that I'm going to do coming out of Virginia. And I've also got a couple other videos from last night I'm going to be uploading. But this one, I will put the link to the story in the description box below. It's got two videos in it. One is the news story from television, and the other one is a press conference that's being held. And at the beginning of the press conference, they play the actual video footage from the body camera of what happened. I'm just going to tell you, if you watch the 22-minute video, the press conference one, and you watch that video from the body camera of the cop, it's difficult to watch. I actually teared up. I really did. Yeah, I know. I broke the rule of Charles Bronson and Clint Eastwood. I teared up as a man. But no, it hit me, man. I want to punch that white cop in the freaking face so bad. I don't know. I try not to be violent against law enforcement, but I want to punch that cop I want to punch him until his face is freaking swollen. This cop, and I'll just give you a quick preface, and then we'll go into our editorial. But what happened was we had a man who was apparently on drugs, or presumably on drugs. He even himself says, I want to detox. I want to go to detox. I need detox. That's what he's saying. He's walking around the middle of the street rambling. One police officer is really trying hard to de-escalate. He's talking to him. He's like, what do you need, man? Well, we got to get in the back of the ambulance. We'll take you to detox. Come on, man. Come on, Dante. What are you doing, buddy? Come here. And he's just talking to him. Billy Badass strolls up with his taser and just out of the blue, tases the guy. And when he goes down, he runs up and starts tasing him in the back of the neck. Billy Badass. Well, he's been charged, and I hope to God he gets his ass beat in prison. I'm sorry if some of people might be offended by this video, but you don't understand what I just watched. It literally made my hand shake a little. I was like, it's one of those things where you're watching a man be tortured and you can't do anything about it. You're helpless. You're like, I just want to jump through the screen and help this guy. And you can't. But this is why people are protesting police brutality right here. All you guys that are upset at protesters, watch this video. And then if you're still upset at protesters, you don't have any compassion for humanity. And I'm not talking about the rioters and them that are busting into stores and looting and breaking windows. And no, those are criminals. Those aren't protesters. Those are criminals. And they're taking advantage of a situation to loot and riot and burn shit. And those are not protesters. The protesters are the ones that are shouting, no justice, no peace, prosecute, bad police. Those are your protesters, the ones who are saying, we are freaking tired of it. We are sick of police brutality. And I'm not talking about all law enforcement officers. The one first cop in this video, I believe, is a good cop. He's a good guy. He's just trying his best to get the guy into the ambulance. And Billy Badass, Wyatt Earp wannabe, walks up like, and just starts shooting with his taser. Perfect example of good cop, bad cop. Evil cop. Coming to us from WFXR TV. Thank you, WFXR TV. A white Virginia police officer was charged with assault and battery in connection with the use of a stun gun on a black man, authorities announced. Fairfax County police officer Tyler Timberlake was trying to get the man into an ambulance to go to a detox center on Friday, according to a body camera video shown at a news conference late Saturday. Timberlake is seen striking the man with a stun gun and then getting on top of him, along with the officer wearing the body camera. Once Timberlake is on top of the man, he presses the stun gun into the back of his neck and fires again. Fairfax County Police Chief Edwin C. Rossler Jr. said, quote, together as a community through our transparency, we will heal as a community. This is behavior we will not tolerate. Rossler said someone had called the police about a man walking down the street shouting that he needed oxygen. An officer who responded before Timberlake tried to de-escalate the situation, the police chief said, adding that it's unclear why Timberlake used a stun gun. I'll tell you why, because he's a freaking bully with a tin badge on. He's a bully. And that's why I record the police, for assholes like that. Because if nobody had their body cameras on, if there was no body camera footage, if there was nothing here, it would have been the cop's word versus that guy's word. Well, he was resisting and he was fighting and he was swinging on us. No body cam to show anything. But the body cam footage shows the truth. A man that's on drugs, he's saying, I need oxygen, I need detox, I need detox, I need, and they're just trying to like, okay, just get into the ambulance. And Billy Badass comes up and just starts stunning him. Why? He wasn't doing nothing. He's walking around in the middle of the street. Big deal. He's on drugs. He's mental health issues. So we're going to punish him. We're going to stun him. We're going to electrocute him. Because he won't do what we say, and we're cops. People say, well, you're supposed to obey the authorities. So you stun gun a guy who's just not walking. He's not even hurting anybody. He's just walking around. He's not stealing. He's not murdering. He's not assaulting. He's not battering. He's just walking around in the street on drugs. The man was treated at a hospital and subsequently released, Rossler said. Rossler said at the news conference late Saturday night that Timberlake deployed force in violation of the department's use of force policies and ignored the sanctity of human life. He said, quote, our nation is righteously angry at the law enforcement profession, as am I. And he was referring to George Floyd, again, we'll say his name, a black man who died at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, root word for chauvinist. Fairfax County Commonwealth's attorney Steve Descano also seemingly referenced the protests in a statement, announcing the 3 counts of assault and battery, which could yield a 36-month sentence for Timberlake if convicted. News outlets reported it wasn't immediately clear whether he had a lawyer to comment on his behalf. Descano said, quote, I can assure you that I am personally following this case closely to ensure a thorough prosecution and outcome, especially during these trying times. And so I want to ask all of you as I close this editorial, do you feel that the protests that are going on across the nation are going to change the way policing is done in the streets? That cops like this are going to start being prosecuted. They are going to start having charges because the district attorneys and the police chiefs and the sheriffs notice that, oh, you know what? America is tired of it. No, George Floyd isn't a hero. No, George Floyd isn't a martyr. George Floyd was a man who had flaws and did not deserve to die at the hands of a police officer while begging for his life. That's what George Floyd was. And he was the match that lit the fuse. He was the one where America said to the cops, you know what? We're fucking tired of it. That's what that was. People are just fed up. You know how your mom is like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. God damn it, stop it. And she throws something at you and whatever. That's what George Floyd was. He was that point where you're just like, you know what? Done. That's what George Floyd was. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a martyr. He wasn't some guy we put on a pet. He was a man, a human being who deserved to live, who had flaws. Well, he had victims. He, did this. Okay, well, he committed crime, sure. And he served time for it. And I'm sure the victims aren't going to forgive him for those crimes. But he still didn't deserve to die at the hands of a police officer while begging for his life over $20. Well, he did a home invasion. He did time for that. But I'm not necessarily talking about George Floyd. I'm talking about cops like this and Chauvin and all the other cops that are out there hurting people, brutalizing people, and they're getting away with it. The Atlanta cops, 6 of them, terminated by the police chief. I fired him. Nice puppy dog. I fired him. I did my job. And then the DA, there's a story I saw on that too, where the district attorney of Atlanta said, his name is Howard, and he said, no, we ain't just firing them. They're not going to go get jobs somewhere else. And now he's bringing charges on those cops. Those are the ones who tased the young black couple in the car because they wanted to film the police. And the district attorney says, Chief, you ain't just firing them and sending them along like bad puppy dogs with a newspaper on their ass. I'm bringing charges. And people are saying, oh, well, he's doing it because it's election time. No, he's doing it because he, as a black man, the district attorney in Atlanta, is tired of seeing minorities brutalized at the hands of police, just as we are. And I've had minorities tell me, well, you really can't speak on it. You're a white man in America. And it's true that I don't know exactly what it feels like. I could walk up to cops and I'm treated differently than if a black guy walks up to cops with, t-shirt, baggy pants, and his hat backwards. They're going to look at him differently than they look at me. And that's sad because they shouldn't. Because he's probably just as I am, a hardworking American man. He just happens to dress a certain way. He likes his style. Yeah, we laugh at baggy pants and pants on the ground, but in truth, that's their style. They like it. We may not agree with it, but it doesn't mean you put them in the category of gang member. Might be a hardworking American man with a wife and kids, and he just happens to like to dress that way. And I'm not off on a tangent. I'm seriously talking about how law enforcement stereotypes people, and particularly minorities. I see it, guys. I'm out there cop watching. I see physically how minorities are treated differently than white Americans out there. Yeah, there are whites who are treated badly by the cops out there when I'm cop watching. Guess which whites are treated badly by the cops? Those whites who aren't dressed with a polo shirt with an alligator on the chest and khakis and nice little loafers. Yeah, those white Americans are okay. It's the ones who are dressed down. Maybe they're driving they maybe work minimum wage and they're driving a beater car with taillight, out and maybe dents in it and scratches and rust on the hood. And those are the types of white people that cops treat differently. Treat the same as minorities. My point is they're profiling economically. Yeah. So your basic white American who's dressed with a polo shirt and an alligator and, he's maybe got a Rolex on, they're not going to mess with him. But don't mess with the guy who looks like he just came from, the poorest neighborhood in San Bernardino. Don't mess with him because, well, he's got to have drugs. Look how he's dressed. And so you got this cop here who they're not, Timberlake, that's his name. I was saying who they're not naming. They're not naming the good cop, but that's fine. He tried to do his job. But this Timberlake guy, I'm sorry I rambled. This one here really hit me hard. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comment section below, if you feel that policing is going to change because of the protest, that people are going to start charging these cops and firing these cops like that. Let me know, guys. Community Leo Watch. Watching Leos, that's law enforcement officers from coast to coast here on this Throwback Thursday.